Today on Profs Huddle, the men's and women's basketball teams have gone off to hot starts to open up the season, while men's swimmer Kevin Galuli set a new school record in the 100-meter fly.
And we'll break down the top 5 plays of the basketball season so far. And we also have an exclusive interview with the captain of the field hockey team, Christina Kasignola. That and more coming up on Profs Huddle. Welcome back to another episode of Profs Huddle. I'm Aiden Butler.
And I'm Kasignola. This past fall season, the field hockey team made it all the way to the NCAA Division III Final Four. The men's and women's indoor track and field teams opened up the season this past weekend. Most recently, the men's and women's basketball teams faced off against Cade. Aiden, can you tell us more about basketball?
Absolutely, Kara. On Saturday, the Profs took on the Cane Cougars in a critical NJAC matchup. Early on, Andrew Seeger was able to get past the defense not once, but twice, each time finishing at the rim first with the left hand and then with the right. Seeger will go on to have a career high in points with 27. Just a few plays later, Seeger finds Ryan O'Leary in the corner, who then drives and finishes at the rim with an emphatic one-hand slam that gets the Rowan bench on its feet. Later on, Connor Dickerson grabs a loose ball and tosses it ahead to DeAndre Vilmar, who flushes it home with 2 hands. That would now make the game tied at 72. Arian Azemi started off rough, but then started to heat up later in the game as that 3-ball hits nothing but net. But wait, he isn't done. Next play, he gets the steal and tosses ahead to Dickerson, who ices the game for the Profs. Here's Kasignola on Rowan Radio with the call.
And the Cougars turn it over, Dickerson out, and he slams it down! That will ice the game!
The Profs win this battle with a score of 99-91, improving their record to 6-1. The Profs were able to out-rebound the Cougars by 15 on the glass while grabbing 53. Rowan also led the steals battle by 1 and shot 66% from the free throw line compared to Kane's 39%.
The women's basketball team also went up against Cane in a key NJAC matchup last Saturday. We'll start in the first quarter where sophomore Sam Rinaldi crosses over, finds her way into the paint, and uses the backboard to tie the game 6-6. Then later on, Nicole Mallard would come up with a steal and attack the basket with a Euro step and finish with the left hand as she was fouled. Later on, Mallard gets in the mix again as she would intercept the pass, attack the lane, and get another easy score. Later on in the second half, the Profs' defense continued to suffocate Cane as this time Grace Marshall would collect the steal and capitalize one-on-one against the Cougars. In the third quarter, Marshall would collect yet another steal, but this time she would find Christina Johnson on the fast break with the bounce pass, leading to the easy layup for the Profs to put them up by 10, 35-25. Early on in the fourth quarter, Dakota Adams would find Savannah Holt in the corner as she would hit the 3 with nothing but net. The Profs would win the game by a final score of 53-45, largely due to their defense, which led to 13 steals. The team grabbed 39 rebounds and shot 86% from the free throw line. The Profs are now 3-4 this season.
Over the weekend, both the men's and women's swimming and diving teams took part in the WPI Gompai Invitational. In the men's 200-meter medley, the team of Kevin Galuli, Greg Can, Andrew Fenton, and Dylan Reagan placed second for the Profs behind Bryant University with a time of 1 minute, 32 seconds, and 19/100ths of a second. In the 200-meter mixed free relay, the Profs placed first. Jordan McChesney, Gabby Buck, Andrew Fenton, and Dylan Reagan had a time of 1 minute, 30 seconds, and 42/100ths of a second. But in the men's 100-meter butterfly final, Kevin Galuli placed first and set a new school record with a time of 48 seconds and 47/100ths of a second. And to close it all out, the freshman, Emma Padros, had herself a great weekend, placing 6th, 7th, and 16th in 3 different events, and she was named NJAC Rookie of the Week.
Now let's take a look at the indoor track and field team whose season got underway over the weekend. For the women's indoor track and field team, Promise Fedahunzi won the 60-meter dash with a time of 7.85 seconds. Nicole Notariani captured first place in the 60-meter hurdles with a time of 9.30 seconds. For the men's indoor track and field team, Nana Agiman won the long jump with a top mark of 7.01 meters. Lastly, rounding things out for the indoor track and field teams is Amara Conte, who earned NJAC Rookie of the Week with his contributions helping the Profs place fourth in the 4x400 relay. We'll now send it over to Jake, who's got all the field hockey coverage and recent news.
Thanks, Kara. Rowan's Christina Kasignola was recently named the Region 4 Player of the Year as voted on by the National Field Hockey Coaches Association. Kasignola was the Profs' leading scorer this season and scored the NJAC Championship game-winning goal against Keene, sending the Profs into the NCAA tournament once again. She finished with 18 goals, 8 assists, and a team-high 44 points on the season. We got to hear from her this week as she talked about the team's success and the work that went into her stellar performance this season.
Like, as much as I've gotten all these things, like, I wouldn't have gotten those things without the people around me, like, helping me on my bad days, like, making sure, like, hey, like, you missed that shot, you have it next time. And it's, like, constant, whether if you're on the field, on the sideline, like, during a game, or, like, in practice, whether you're a starter or non-starter, like, everyone was right there with me, like, saying, like, hey, like, we're going to help you be the best. And I'm obviously, like, doing it right back with them. In 2018, like, we did it and we were like, this isn't like a one-time thing. Like, we need to show the country, like, it's not a one-time thing. Like, we're consistently hitting the top, being one of the top 4 teams in the country. And we felt a little short of that in 2019. And we said, listen, like, we're going back and we're going further and we're not settling for anything less but the national championship. And I think that mindset helped me in the offseason, willing to, like, work hard a lot with, like, my teammates and with myself, and everything we set out to accomplish from, like, that first day we were able to do for the most part, obviously falling just literally a game short. I think it was just something, like, all of us kind of, we don't want to say knew and say we were, like, overly cocky, but we were confident in, like, our skill and, like, the things we were doing in practice, knowing, like, we were prepared to do what we wanted to do and, like, achieve the goals we set. And I think that really was important. And it was something our coaches really could notice within us too. They said this team is, like, the closest team we'd seen in a couple years. Just wise, like, being close together, like, on and off the field.
What a successful season for our Profs. They won the NJAC Championship for the second time in 3 seasons.
They did win 16 straight games throughout the season and made it to the Final Four for the 5th time in school history.
The Profs made their way all the way to the NCAA Division III Field Hockey Final Four. Let's see how they performed. Early on in the first period, Katie George for the Panthers would connect with the back of the net after several attempts to give Middlebury the 1-0 lead. Then in the second period, Christina Kasignola would find her way inside the shooting circle where she would use her backhand and chip it over the head of the goalie, hitting the top left corner, tying the game 1 goal apiece. The Panthers would then answer back when Erin Nicholas weaved through the Profs defense and scored to make the game 2-1 in favor of the Panthers. Then in the third period, off of a long corner, George got in the mix again, made her way inside the circle and got the ball past the diving goalkeeper Hainsworth with the 3-1 lead. Middlebury would ice off the game off of a penalty corner where Amy Griffin passed the ball up ahead to Nicholas, who scored as the clock was winding down. The Profs fell to the Panthers 4-1 in the NCAA Division III Final Four. Despite the heartbreaking loss to end the season, Rowan finished 18-3 while winning the NJAC title as well.
Now in this segment of the Profs Huddle, we're going to take a look at the top 5 plays of the men's and women's basketball season up to this point. Let's send it to John, who will break it down for us.
Thanks, Aiden. Right now I'm in the SB Gym, home of Rowan Athletics. Now, let's take a look at the top 5 plays so far this basketball season for the Profs.
Getting things started at number 5, Elena Santana hitting Stockton defenders with a smooth crossover, spin move, and the lay. Crafty move there by Santana. On to number 4, Marcellus Ross in the corner fades away with a hand in his face. Bang! Ross with the icy 3. At number 3, Nicole Mallard pulls out some football moves with this interception and finishes it with a foul to complete the 3-point play for the Profs. Number 2, Arian Azemi goes up for the layup. No good. Bunnies. DeAndre Vilmar slams it for the putback dunk. DeAndre Vilmar raised the roof. And the number one play so far this season is Ryan O'Leary from the corner, goes baseline and slams it home. Ryan O'Leary putting Kane on notice with that poster dunk.
That'll do it for the top 5 plays. I'm John Beavers, and let's throw it back to Aiden in the studio.
Thanks, John. That's all the action we have for you on this final episode of Profs Huddle. Thank you for tuning in all season long. I'm Aiden Butler.
And I'm Kara Guno. We'll see you next season when we get back in the huddle.